Hi, welcome to another session in our Python course. In this session, we are going to be looking at data types in Python. There are fundamental data types in Python, and they are the ones listed here. They include float, integer, string, boolean, list, tuple, set, dictionary, and complex number. In this session, we are going to be focusing on float, integer, string, and boolean. The other ones, such as list, tuple, and co, would be touched in data structure. This is because list is a form of data type, and at the same time, it is a form of data structure. The question is, why is it like that? Don't worry, when we get to data structure, we are going to be talking about that. So let's start with floats. Floats are basically numbers with decimal points. So when we have 1.2, that is a float. So if I put in front of it like this, so you can see now the type function let us know what data type a particular value is. So if I say x is equal to 1.2 or 1.3, so if I call on x is 1.3, so if I say type of x, you're going to tell us that it is float. So float data type is those ones who has decimal values. Then the next is the integer. So integers are whole numbers which can be negative, positive, or zero. So let's say x is equals to 1. So let's call on x, that is 1. So type of x. So is int. So that is an integer. So it's a whole number, negative or positive, or even zero. Now, string. String is usually a sequence of characters which are enclosed within single, double, or triple quotation marks. So strings are used to represent text data in Python. So usually text data are represented in form of string. However, other types of data can also be represented as string, but they must be enclosed inside a quotation mark, whether a single, double, or triple. So let's look at it. Let's say name. So you can see now, so let's put type of name, and you can see it's a string. Now, if I want to do this, let me remove the quotation marks. You see now, Python does not recognize it. So if I put it back, then Python recognizes it. Let's use double quotation mark. So you see, so whether we use a single quotation mark or we use a double quotation mark, Python still recognizes it. But there is an issue. If I want to do this, Segun is a good one. If I do this, Python is okay with it. But if I say now, you can see that immediately I enter the second line. This is not in red again, showing that Python does not know what is happening here. So if I run this, we are going to run into error. You see now, there is an issue here. But that is where the triple quotation marks comes in. So if I put triple quotation mark, you can see now this is triple quotation mark. So I can do the same thing. So now you can see that I have 3 lines, and all the 3 lines are in different rows. So let's see what happens. So if I print name, you can see now that all of these are produced without any form of error. And when we are talking about string later, we will let you know that info space is a string. You can see that this is starting like this. Why? Because of this space here. So if I remove this space and I come back again, you can see. So these are how we can put our string in multiple lines in Python. So we can use a single quotation or a double quotation mark to define our string. However, if we want the string to be written in multiple lines, we will have to use quotation. We are going to use triple quotation marks. Good. Then let us talk about Boolean. Boolean is a data type that represents the true value. It can only have two possible values, that is, either true or false. Booleans are often used in logical operations, comparison operations, and control flow statements to make decisions in Python programming. So it can be true or false, or 1 or 0. So Booleans are very important when doing comparison or logical operations in Python. And you will see right now. So let me write true. So the true starts with uppercase. So if I use lowercase, you see it will throw an error. So it's a capital letter T or uppercase T. So you see the same thing go for false. And true is 1, false is 0. Now, let's see an example. X is equals to 10. Y is equals to 12. So if I say X is less than Y, X is 10, Y is 12. So X is less than Y, isn't it? So it's true. So let's do that. You see now it's true. So if I say Y is less than Y, no, that is not true, because Y should be equals to Y. So you see now, that is false. So that is how Booleans work. When a statement is true, it's true. When it is false, it puts false. But we cannot have more than two conditions. So it is either true or it is a false. Good. Now, let's look at a concept called typecasting in Python. It is also known as type conversion or type coercion, and it is the process of converting a data from one type to another. In Python, variables can hold values of any data type because of the dynamic nature of Python programming language when it comes to type. Now, there are two types of typecasting: the implicit or what is called the automatic conversion. In dynamic typecasting, that is the implicit typecasting, which is also the automatic conversion by Python. Python determines the data type automatically. For example, if I say x is equals to 1.0, Python understands that this is a float, so it's going to make it a float, as you can see here. If I say y is equals to 1, then type of y, Python is going to make it an integer because it understands that this data type is integer. However, there is what is called an explicit typecasting or manual conversion, in which we use some inbuilt functions in Python to convert our data type or to force our data to assume a particular data type. Let's look at it. X equals 2.9. So this is a float, isn't it? So if I check, so this is float. But if I come down here and I say y equals to int of x, you can see that y is 2, is not 2.9 again. So it has removed the decimal point. So if I do type of y is already an integer. So we can force a particular data to assume a particular data type apart from in some conditions, which we are going to be talking about later. So the conditions where we cannot force our data type is string. So let's say we have y is equals to string of x. So you see now that there are now quotation marks around 2.9. So if I say type of y, you can see now it's a string. But we cannot convert a string to a float. For example, so what is new? You can see this is a string. So let's look at it. So the type is a string. Now, let's say we want to convert this to a float. So you can see now it has shown us an error. So this is how we cannot convert string to float or integer. Thank you very much. We'll be meeting in the next one.